This woman threw a dog out of the hot air balloon. People on the ground panicked when they saw it, but luckily, the dog's parachute opened in the air and it landed safely. Inside the hot air balloon, there was Jack, a scientist who used balloons to study the weather. Jack and his team had already climbed thousands of feet high. Jack recorded weather data and sent it down using pigeons. Soon, their balloon drifted into the clouds, where Jack continued gathering information. He was excited by the discoveries, but then a storm suddenly struck. The balloon shook violently, and both Jack and Amelia held on tightly to the rope. A strong jolt lifted them upward, and Jack nearly fell out, but he managed to hold on. Amelia, however, was left hanging dangerously from the side of the basket. Seeing this, Jack tied a rope around his waist, reached out, and pulled her back to safety. But the danger wasn't over yet. To stabilize the balloon, Amelia quickly threw out sandbags, making the balloon lighter. It rose higher and higher until the storm finally cleared. They both sighed in relief as the skies opened up. Amazingly, they had now risen above the clouds, higher than the bird. There, they even saw butterflies flying above the skies, which filled them with wonder. Jack continued writing down weather observations, convinced now that weather changes could truly be predicted. He kept sending the data down with pigeons. By then, their hot air balloon had reached over 23,000 feet into the sky. As the thin air started to seep in, Amelia suggested that they should descend. Ice had also begun forming on the air balloon, but Jack lied, saying, "Just send one more reading. Once we go higher, the sun's warmth will melt the ice." Amelia too wanted to see the sky, so she agreed. But the moment they ascended further, the temperature dropped to 15 degrees, covering their balloon with even more ice. Still, Amelia supported Jack in collecting the data. But when they released the pigeons to send the information, the freezing cold instantly froze them to death. Jack, however, was determined to gather more results, so he began throwing equipment down to rise higher. Amelia tried to stop him, but Jack pushed her aside. Soon, they both began to feel dizzy as the oxygen levels dropped. Amelia realized that if they didn't descend, they would lose their lives. She pulled the valve to release air and bring the balloon down, but it was jammed because of the cold. Now, the only way left was for her to climb to the top of the balloon and manually release it to descend. To know what happens next, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.